crime-scene footage of Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September.
You want to put the stuff in my fanny pack, King?
The exclusive video obtained by Netflix shows Combs debating with his lawyers about strategy.
Listen to me.
This should show you his character.
Was that the reason for including it?
Newly released footage obtained by Netflix reveals Sean Diddy Combs in the days leading up to his arrest in New York last September. In the clips, he is seen debating legal strategy with his attorneys, a moment that, according to the filmmakers, provides insight into his mindset and character at the time. Alongside this material, a new documentary produced by 50 Cent explores not only Diddy's alleged crimes, but also includes a segment focusing on his son, Christian Combs, known as King.
Combs allegedly found her a short time later and insisted she find him a place to sleep. She directed him to the Yacht Cinema, which was used as an extra sleeping area, where he blocked her in, the suit states. Christian Combs allegedly began to touch her and took off his clothes. The suit states that his blank was blank and he grabbed her arms and was trying to force the plaintiff to perform, I guess, brains on him, the suit states.
Combs. The film suggests that Christian's behavior and involvement shed light on the broader environment surrounding Diddy during the years in question. The documentary revisits the disturbing allegations made by Grace Omar, a former yacht stewardess who came forward to describe what she says happened during a charter in December 2022. Grace believed the trip would be a wholesome family outing. Instead, she claims it quickly devolved into a
Markey says that she had been working as a steward, providing food and drinks on that yacht for a 12-hour period, and she was 25 years old at the time. She believed that the trip would be a, quote, wholesome family excursion, but says it, quote, turned into a hedonistic environment, even describing rampant drug use amongst sex workers and celebrities who came on board. She believes that the alcohol on the yacht had been laced with drugs because she says women would have one drink and then almost immediately pass out or start falling.
Hedonistic environment filled with drug use involving sex workers and celebrities. Grace alleges that Christian pressured her into taking a shot of tequila, one she later suspected had been tampered with. She says women aboard the yacht would drink once and nearly collapse moments later, almost immediately after consuming her drink. She recalls her surroundings spiraling out of control. According to the lawsuit, Christian allegedly trapped her in a private area of the yacht, restrained her, touched her without consent, and grew increasingly aggressive when she tried to escape. She describes feeling terrified and utterly alone as her pleas for help went unanswered. On December 28, 2022, Grace says Christian returned to the yacht intoxicated and pressured her to drink with him again, this time in a makeshift.
And now we focus on December 28th, 2022. She says that Christian reportedly arrives on that yacht very intoxicated and then pressures her to take shots of tequila. She says that she did, that Christian allegedly tried to get her to drink more, and she tried to get her to drink more in the yacht's makeshift recording studio. And that's important, and I'll explain why in a second. The complaint reads, at this point, defendant C. Combs violently grabbed plaintiff's arm and began hurting her. He pulled plaintiff to the seat beside him and prevented her from getting up. And she says from there, she claims from there, that Christian allegedly kisses her neck and face as he gropes her legs, her breasts, her private areas. And according to her, she reportedly tells Christian, quote, excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that. I'll move my legs where I want to. If I want to do this, then I will. You don't touch my legs like that. Now, remember where I said this was happening, this recording studio? Well, the alleged assault was reportedly witnessed by Rodney Lil Rod Jones. This is a music producer who had apparently accompanied Combs basically everywhere for a year while they were working on Combs' latest album, Love Off the Grid. And we remember that Rodney Jones has filed his own separate lawsuit against Sean Combs and others. And he was saying that he was in this recording studio when this was going on, when Christian and Markey were there. And he might even have some audio that was recorded of this interaction.
Recording studio. Court documents state that Christian violently grabbed her arm, forcibly pulled her beside him, and began kissing and groping her without permission. When she pushed back, telling him he had no right to touch her, he allegedly ignored her objections. The incident, she says, was witnessed by producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, who had been accompanying Christian while recording his album Love Off the Grid. Jones.
But Christian ends up finding her and wants her to find him a place to sleep for the night in the yacht. So she takes him to the cinema room of the yacht. And that is when she claims Christian stopped her from leaving, groped her, took off all of his clothes, and tried to force her to perform oral sex on him. Now, she says she was allegedly able to fight him off. Someone walks into the room, and then she was able to leave. And she said when she reported this to the captain, according to her, the captain berates her. And she alleges that the captain may have even been paid off by Sean Combs to keep quiet about what happened. And I will tell you what's really interesting about this complaint. Embedded in the complaint are photographs that purport to be Omarki's arms with bruises on them. And that is really interesting. You don't usually see that in a complaint like this. Now, she's not only suing Christian Combs, like I mentioned before, for all those different causes of action, but she is also suing Sean Combs too. You see, Sean Combs is named as a defendant because she accuses him of aiding and abetting Christian's behavior, as well as having premises liability because he was the leaseholder of the yacht. Premises liability means that you have a duty to keep people on your property safe from injuries.
Who has filed his own lawsuit against Diddy and others, claims he may even have audio of the encounter. Grace alleges that when she reported the incident to the yacht's captain, he berated her, dismissed her concerns, and eventually fired her. She believes he may have been paid to remain silent, an allegation strengthened by the fact that she and her partner were excluded from the crew's official statements following the incident. Photographs of bruises on her arm.
We're all about, oh, Diddy's turning gray behind bars. Who gives a flying fig about his hair? I don't care. I want this to be about the victims. That's what I want. That's how I perceive it. And I have dealt with so many victims. I've had victims that could never have a romantic relationship with a man after that. That feeling of helplessness. You can't fight back. And you just, then after, people may not believe you. If you're lucky enough to have children, it affects how you raise them. You know, like my fiance was murdered shortly before our wedding. You think I don't know where my children are right now? You don't think I'll look at Life 360 50 times a day? When my husband leaves to go out of town, I'm like, well, he could die.
Arms were included in her complaint, unusual but compelling addition to illegal filing. Grace is suing both Christian Combs and Sean Diddy. Diddy is accused of aiding and abetting Christian's behavior and of premises liability as the yacht's leaseholder. As public outrage grew, commentator Gene Deal expressed deep frustration over what he viewed as a lack of accountability. He criticized the dismissive treatment of victims, emphasizing the long-term trauma survivors face. Deal's emotional reaction reflected the growing disillusionment of many who believed powerful figures had long avoided.
The defense, meanwhile, argued the women were willing participants in fulfilling Combs' sexual desires and that all the encounters we heard about in this trial were consensual. And there you see, after the verdict, Diddy's family celebrating on the streets in New York City, doing push-ups on the sidewalk while others danced. They said a few words exclusively to ABC News.
Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team argued that the women involved were willing participants and that all encounters were consensual. After early court proceedings, video surfaced showing members of Diddy's family celebrating outside the courthouse, doing push-ups and dancing. For many, the display seemed shockingly out of touch with the severity of the allegations and the pain of the victims. Deal later turned his attention to Christian, criticizing what
King Clown. That's some real clowns. Man, listen to me, man. Let me just tell you something, bro. And this is real talk. He's still going to jail. You happy because he didn't get the RICO and the racketeering. So he gets to keep his money. He gets to keep his inheritance. He gets to keep all the shit that they stole over the years from other people. That's why he happy. Him and Puff wasn't that tight. They used to go at it. People close by would tell that story. Yeah, that's still his father. But you and I both know that extra shit right out there, come on, man. Outside the court, the judge might give him extra time for this nigga and his antics. Puff not coming home, bro. And you got to realize at 50 something years old, he'll come out to get his Social Security or better. How old is he? Born in 69? We're like 54, 55, something like that. He'll come out and get his Social Security. He had to do 85% of his time. That right there, King Kong or Christian, acting like that in front of the courts, in front of everybody. They be taking these judges back information. The officers, they got people around there looking at that. There were victims in this case, bruh.
He described as reckless behavior and a tough guy persona built on privilege rather than experience. He warned that such actions, mocking witnesses, boasting online, and behaving erratically outside the courthouse only encourage investigators and judges to look deeper. Another incident then surfaced. A video of Christian trying to pressure his girlfriend to twerk on camera. She refused, but he persisted, further fueling comparisons to his father's alleged behavior and highlighting a craving for attention.
When do you grow up, man, and be who you really are? Because you ain't no gangster. You don't know what a gangster is. You a prankster. You a prankster, son. Stop that. I think when the people heard the mixtape and they called him out on it, and they was checking him and they was trying to check him, but they lost, bruh. They don't have no guidance. The dude who's supposed to be doing, I don't know if he's security or whatever like that. Man, what the fuck is you doing out here like this? He gets on the ground and start doing pushes up with him. Bruh, for real? Man, put your shirt on and get your ass back in that damn car. Stop acting like you stupid. Act like you got some sense. That's when they making the dollar make them, bruh. The dollar is making them. What you happy about? You gotta realize they know his daddy's still going to jail. They happy because they feel like the government doesn't have a right to mess with nobody's assets at this time. The verdict on the RICO, non and void. Nothing. Racketeering, nothing. And I guess it was some kind of, what was the other charge? Sex or something like that? Not sex. They got the sex charges, but the RICO, the racketeering, and the kidnapping. The kidnappings, coercion, kidnapping, all this like that. All that was non-void. It went nowhere. It went nowhere. But you still partying? Your dad about to do some time.
At the expense of others. Comfort.deal lamented that Christian, born into wealth, never learned responsibility. Instead of using his privilege to build something positive, he said, Christian gravitated toward a performative street persona that didn't reflect reality. He described him as a prankster, not a gangster, someone given enough resources to do nothing rather than enough to accomplish something meaningful. The documentary underscores patterns of impulsive behavior such as Christian's mixtape featuring threats toward witnesses, and his shirtless celebrations.
They wanna stop the kid from playing me. They don't understand, but they scared me. Telling me crazy.
He ain't no real boss. He ain't no real king. He could make her own, earn her keep. He ain't no real king, man. Come on, man. These kids is clowns out here, bro. You know, it don't have really nothing to do with his father being in jail or nothing like that. You know, these guys right here, they always wanted to be, you know, instead of going and doing something positive in the world and being somebody positive in the world, they live this lifestyle of spoiled rich kids had been given enough to do nothing instead of being given something enough to do something. They've been given enough to do nothing instead of being given enough to do something. There's a difference. So, never had to work a day in his life. All he know is the hip hop scene, want to be something that he's not.
Outside the courthouse that many see as self-sabotage. As for Diddy himself, the once billionaire mogul now lives a starkly different life. After being charged in September 2024 with sex trafficking, racketeering, and running a criminal enterprise, he was sent to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, one of the harshest federal facilities in the country. Gone are the mansions and staff. In their place are concrete walls, fluorescent lights, and a steel cot. Reports describe Diddy.
Anything for attention, and if they want to make you believe that they happy, they want to fool you to believe that they happy, bruh. He's an attention seeker. I look back on all the things that all his sons have been doing. Well, just him, Justin, because Quincy ain't his son. That's Al B. Sure's son. King Kong has been the reckless of all of them that came to represent him. Did some mixtape with Kanye West, dissing the witnesses, threatening them with a rifle outside the courtroom with his shirt off, doing jumping jacks, screaming victory and all that. Talking about they going on tour, the reunion tour, whatever. Then having his girl twerk, or trying to get his girl to twerk or whatever like that.
Eat prison meals out of fear they were tampered with, losing sleep, and constantly looking over his shoulder. According to statements during his sentencing, he even awoke one night to an inmate holding a knife to his throat. It is unclear how the situation ended, but the incident was highlighted to the judge as evidence of the dangers. He now faces behind bars. Diddy was eventually transferred to Fort Dix, where he received a work assignment in the prison library, a promotion from the laundry room. He now hands out books and films to other inmates and participates in an 80-month spiritual rehabilitation program designed to reduce sentences for good behavior. Yet violence remains a daily reality. Recently, footage surfaced of a fight inside MDC that left a guard hospitalized. Inmates were later lined up in handcuffs as investigators.
Well, Diddy is just a working class stiff while he's at Fort Dix.
So when you're at a prison and somebody says, "You read any good books lately?" Diddy is the answer.
He's the guy to go to because we got video of him at Fort Dix reporting for work in the library, where he is making recommendations and handing out different movies and books for his fellow inmates.
I'm really fascinated just by the library itself.
But you're seeing him here. This is him reporting to work, taking off his jacket, taking off his scarf, and settling in for a day on the job.
It looks like a public school library.
Yeah.
It's
this was the chapel, and this is the media library in the chapel, which is where Diddy's currently working. He's working in a Life Connections program, which is an 18-month program that helps rehab people and get them closer to spirituality, to charity groups, and with that, it will shorten his sentence. But in this media library, he helps inmates with religious material, rent out movies, that kind of stuff. You see him pushing a
really
cart
interesting
with a TV on it.
Yeah, I mean, he was in the laundry room when he first got there.
Yeah,
this got to be
his first assignment.
This got to be a promotion.
Yeah,
it feels like a promotion. It feels like maybe he tried the lunchroom and put in a request for something different.
Yeah, it does it does sound like he used maybe possibly some connections to get a better job.
So here's my question. I mean, that's the story.
Yeah.
My question is this. So Diddy had a certain persona before he got in all this trouble. And now he looks very different, very much older.
Yes.
When he gets out.
Assess the damage. Former inmates have spoken about the psychological torment of solitary confinement, describing it as a place designed to break a person mentally. Commentators have compared Diddy's downfall to being buried alive, locked in a coffin he cannot escape. Federal records show the earliest Diddy could be released is June 4, 2028, and that date depends heavily on good behavior and program completion, as 50 Cent's documentary continues to circulate. Audiences are left to consider not only Diddy's alleged crimes, but the troubling question of whether Christian Combs may be following in his father's footsteps. Do you believe Christian will continue down this path, or will he change course before facing consequences of his own? Share your thoughts below.